Cadillac may not be the first manufacturer you think of when it comes to a luxury high-performance coupe. However, that notion may change with the introduction of the all-new ATS-V coupe. It targets BMW's iconic M3 and M4 head-on, and it sports a lot of firsts for a V-Series car, the first twin-turbocharged V6 engine to be exact. So should the Germans have anything to worry about? Well, let's take a look and find out. So the ATS has been in the market for a few years now, and when Cadillac first showed us this all-new entry-level sports sedan back in 2012, it won a lot of recognition from consumers and the automotive press. This was a vehicle built on Cadillac's all-new Alpha platform. It was basically an all-new platform developed by Cadillac to replace the Sigma 2 platform, which was being phased out. Now the ATS takes the place in Cadillac's lineup as the entry-level BMW 3 Series fighter. So we all knew that a high-performance version was in the works, and we had to wait about 3 years for it, but it's finally here. And you can see the V version of the ATS certainly doesn't disappoint in terms of the design. It basically takes Cadillac's very successful art and science design theme and pumps it up, and it makes it even more aggressive, even more stand-outish. Now you can see at the front of the vehicle you have the same very attractive headlight design that goes all the way up to the top of the fender. The V-Series cars will sport this very attractive looking mesh finish bright silver grille. It goes very nicely with the carbon fiber package that my tester has, along with the carbon fiber hood extractor on the hood, which is functional, by the way. It does allow that V6 engine to keep cool. Now you can see that splitter at the front certainly looks very good with this crystal white tri-coat color that Cadillac charges about $1,000 extra for. And overall, you really can see a lot of lineage with Cadillac's racing heritage when you look at this car. I mean, it looks like a very badass Cadillac or badass ATS when you look at the front of this vehicle. Now, one thing that my tester is missing is bi-xenon headlights or any LED headlight option with an LED accent. You guys want a bi-xenon function, you have to go for a luxury package, which is odd to me because this is the flagship of the ATS lineup. It should come standard with a feature like that, so I'm a little disappointed and annoyed to see cheap-looking halogen projectors on this flagship model. Now, coming around the side, you can see these 18-inch wheels are standard. You can only get an 18-inch wheel option on the ATS-V. There is no 19-wheel option or 19-inch wheel entire package available, but you can see it fills out the wheel wells pretty well. The Brembo 6-piston brake rotors at front and rear are standard equipment on every ATS-V. You can get them painted in either red or gold, like my tester, for about $600. And really, when you guys look at the side profile of the coupe, this is really where you're going to see the biggest difference between the sedan. Obviously, the coupe is a little bit lower, a little bit sleeker, and it's actually a tad longer in overall length. The coupe stretches about 184 inches long, right in line with a BMW M4. Now, you can see, looking at that third rear quarter view, these LED taillights are standard. The signature design theme of any V-Series car is that very attractive looking quad outlet stainless steel exhaust, which sounds fantastic, actually. The V-Series cars always have a nice mean sound. The twin-turbo V6 that's in this car certainly has a nice growl to it. I think it sounds a little bit better than BMW's M4. Of course, it is no chance against the mighty twin-turbo V8 that you'll find in the C63, but that's a different review. Now, overall, I think the ATS-V coupe certainly is a very gorgeous-looking coupe. It certainly looks a lot better in my eyes as a two-door versus the four-door, but if you guys go for the four-door, you certainly will have a little bit more practicality in the rear seat for those of you who need to carry passengers. But for now, let's take a look at the interior and see how it goes up against the very gorgeous looking exterior of the ATS-V. When you look at the inside of the ATS-V Coupe, you're going to find a design that goes with Cadillac's cut and sewn theme. There's lots of leather surfaces around here, around the dash, around the door panels that you can basically see a lot of exposed stitching. The V-Series model adds some suede Alcantara on certain portions of the door panel on the dash. My tester does have the $2,300 Recaro seat option. It's one of the most comfortable Recaro seats I've ever sat in. They are 18-way power adjustable via these controls down here, where you can basically adjust how fat these bolsters are, how tightly these hug you, and the lumbar as well, and your backside is 4-way adjustable. They are extremely comfortable Recaro seats. I really think that every manufacturer should have a Recaro seat that's as good as what's in the ATS-V Coupe. Now you can see, stepping inside, the V version is a little bit lower versus the standard model. So of course this vehicle is a little bit low to the ground, but that's kind of what you want. Now shutting the door, the doors are heavy. I kind of wish it had a little bit more of a solid thunk when you shut it, but you can see here, looking at the rest of this interior, it seems nice at a glance when you first step in. I don't know how many of you guys have actually seen the interior of the ATS, but it's a pretty nice looking interior design at a glance. Now you can see push button start is standard on every ATS-V, so all you have to do is keep this Cadillac key fob inside the vehicle at all times. Now my tester has the awesome 6-speed manual transmission. You can also choose this vehicle with an 8-speed automatic that's basically the same transmission from the Corvette. This is a similar transmission as what you'll find in a Camaro, but all you have to do is put the clutch in and then push the button right here to start the engine. You can see the gauges do a nice sweep. The V version has slightly different gauges with a red font. You also have a 200 mile per hour speed out. Now, let me talk about the gauges really quick because I am not a fan of the way they look. There's a certain cheapness to it. I'm not really a fan of the font of the smaller dials, especially for the speedometer. I think Cadillac needs to redo the gauges of the ATS in general. Now when you rev up that motor, you can hear it sounds fantastic. Now I have the vehicle in its sports setting. It does open up a baffle in the exhaust, so it makes it even more, even better sounding when you guys do blip the throttle. Now looking at the rest of this cabin, you can see you have very nice leather stitching all over the dash. You have some nice suede Alcantara accenting it as well. There is some real carbon fiber, what Cadillac tells it. It looks very nice. It looks really good with the bright silver finishes throughout the cabin. Looking at this door panel right here, same stuff off the dash, soft touch right here with some leather, more of the carbon fiber trim with a metal door handle. The armrest right here is nice and padded, stitched. The windows are automatic up down for both windows. That's kind of expected. This vehicle is a 2-door. Now, looking at the steering wheel, it's pretty similar to what you'll get in the standard ATS. The rim is a little bit thicker. I kind of wish Cadillac went with a flat bottom. So you guys can go for a suede Alcantara wheel, which gives you suede on the bolsters for like $500 if you guys want that. And then you can see my tester also has paddle shifters, which basically come off of the automatic car. It activates the rev match function, where this car will basically automatically rev match when you guys downshift to make it a little bit smoother. Now, looking at this interior, I'm saying that I definitely want to say that while it is nice, it doesn't feel as nice as what you get from its German competitors. There's a couple of elements of cheapness in here that I don't like seeing. For example, the turn signal and windshield wiper stocks, they basically look like they came off of a Chevy Malibu. I don't want to see that reminding me of a Chevy Malibu in my very expensive high-performance Cadillac. Some of the window switches here, again, there's just some GM cheapness in here that I don't really like, especially the mirror controls there. But overall, I'm really nitpicking here. But to be honest, the BMW and the Mercedes offer a much nicer cabin, but you will be paying a little bit more for its German competitors. Now, looking at this center stack here, of course, you have Cadillac's famed or infamous Q infotainment system. It stands for Cadillac User Experience. The company has updated it throughout the years to make it a little bit better. To be honest, I still hate it. I hate the piano black plastic trim here. It shows fingerprints like crazy, and it basically looks like a crime scene if you guys actually start using this and you don't keep it clean. The touchscreen itself is an 8-inch touchscreen. The display looks nice. Some of the competitors are offering a slightly larger screen. There is a proximity sensor here. When I take my hand away from the screen, some of the icons will disappear, and then when I put my hand back, it'll reappear. Now, looking at the home page here, you can see it's supposed to work like a tablet. The response has gotten better over the years, but it's still not the best. You can see you have your different different sources here: audio, phone, navigation, Pandora. PDR is something that's only for the V series model. It stands for Performance Data Recorder. Think of it as having a GoPro already mounted to the front of the car, where it'll record your track times when you guys are taking this vehicle to the track. So it's cool that GM is offering that, and it's available as an option for $1,500, or if you guys get the track package, if you guys want to go for this car. Now, going to the navigation function, you can see here it's the same basic navigation map I've shown you in other GM products. It is a little bit beefed up for the Cadillacs to give you a little bit of a nicer looking screen. Again, it's supposed to work like a tablet, where you're supposed to be able to pinch, you're supposed to be able to zoom, swipe, and you can see the response time has gotten good. But again, I hate touchscreens, especially in a vehicle that's so stiffly sprung. When you guys have it in sports settings, you're basically just fumbling around with the screen, and it's super distracting. I'd rather have a knob here, but that's just me. If you guys like this, you're gonna like the fact that this is a very nicely detailed screen, and it works decently well when it is actually not freezing up on you. Now, a couple things you're going to notice: there is a nice little storage area behind here that flips up. There's a wireless charging port, as well as a power outlet there, or a USB outlet. It's a very nice place to hide some stuff back there. This vehicle does have what GM or Cadillac calls their 4G LTE hotspot. When you guys go to the OnStar option here, you can go to your Wi-Fi settings, where you guys can pay for a subscription to have this vehicle as a rolling hotspot. It'll basically give you up to 6 different connections if you guys want to actually use that function. Very nice to have. When you guys put this vehicle into reverse, you can see you do have a nice backup camera. My tester has front and rear parking sensors. It does have trajectory, but the camera itself, the resolution is not the best. I've seen some much better cameras in its German and Japanese competitors. Now, looking at the center stack here, as you can see, the 6-speed manual in my tester is a very nice transmission. It has very nice, crisp, short throws. It very much reminds me of anything you're going to find in a Camaro or a Corvette in terms of the throws. I'm not really happy with where they put reverse gear. I'm not used to it being over there next to 5th. I prefer it to be next to 6th, but again, that's just a personal thing. I'm nitpicking here. These buttons down here next to the shifter, this one obviously activates the electronic parking brake. These 2 buttons here switches between your different modes. The car will basically stay in the mode that you left it in. Touring mode is the default setting. That's the quietest, most comfortable setting. Sport mode basically gives the car a little bit of a stiffer ride. It alters the steering and alters the exhaust note. I actually prefer the sport mode. It's a very nice mode for everyday driving if you guys plan on driving fast. Track mode, of course, amplifies everything even further. It makes the stability control not intervene as much. And then, of course, there's a snow and ice mode for those of you who do live in the colder states. Looking at the glove compartment here, it is damped. It's a decent size, a little bit on the small side, but it does have enough space for those of you to store some stuff. The cup holders here are right here. Your center console right here is also a pretty decent size. There's some more USB power outlets down there. This console here is leather padded. It doesn't slide or adjust. You can see the seats, they are very nice to look at. They hold you in place very well. And if those of you who are a little bit wider, you'll be happy to see that, or to know that these are adjustable so they don't hug you as much. Now, my tester does not have the sunroof option. It's an a la carte option for $1,000. There is no pano roof available on the ATS-V Coupe, so those of you who want that, you may want to check out its German competitors. Now, overall, the interior for me of the ATS-V Coupe is definitely the weakest aspect. So those of you who prefer something to have more of a special interior are definitely going to want to check out its German and its Japanese competitors. Now, as a 2-door, you do expect some level of practicality in the ATS-V Coupe, and you can see folding this seat forward here, Cadillac sort of makes it easy. There's a little button here that you can push that moves the seat forward. This lever manually moves the seat or moves the recliner of the seat forward. You can see the seat belt kind of gets in the way here, so I'm a little annoyed that they didn't think this through, but you can see, let me step back over here really quick. It's kind of a tight squeeze, so those of you who have tall friends, you probably want to put them back here, especially if you don't like them. But when you actually get back here and move the seat back to where it's supposed to be, you can see the back seat space is definitely tight. If you guys need to actually carry people in the back seat, I would recommend going for the sedan. Surprisingly, there's good foot space underneath here. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm only 5'7". I'm pretty short. I like the fact that Cadillac gives you some vents back here. There's a power outlet, a household power outlet there, in addition to the standard car 12-volt outlet there. Now, you can see this car only seats 2 back here, so it's a 4-seater coupe. There's no armrest right here, but they sort of line this in leather, but it's not soft. It's totally hard. There's some cup holders here. The For surprisingly, the headroom is not terrible. My head is touching the ceiling, but so those of you who are taller, you definitely will have to duck your head. But overall, there's some more of the cut and sewn theme here, although this isn't really terribly soft. Neither is it down here. But overall, I guess for me, I wouldn't mind sitting back here for a short, like 30-minute trip. Anything longer, and I would probably be a little bit fatigued. Now, looking at the trunk of the ATS-V Coupe, this is an area where it's also a little bit down compared to its competitors. You're looking at about 10.4 cubic feet of space. The seats are 60-40 split on the Coupe, standard. On the sedan, you have to go for the luxury package if you guys want that 60-40 split option. Now, this car does not have a spare tire. Of course, it just gives you a fix-a-flat kit. So those of you who do manage to get a puncture, you're pretty much going to be calling OnStart for somebody to come out here and do the tire inflation kit or to give you a tow. Some of the competitors do offer a power closing trunk function that's not available on this car, but overall the trunk is not bad. It has a pretty big opening. Now, when you pop the hood of this gorgeous looking coupe, this is the whole reason why you bought the V version of the ATS. You're looking at the same motor that I showed you guys in the CTS-V Sport. Now, this is GM's high feature LF4 motor. It's a 3.6 liter direct injection twin turbocharged V6. Now, both of those turbos are putting out about 18 pounds of boost, which is about 4 more pounds of boost compared to the CTS-V Sport, which does about 12 pounds of boost. Now, the numbers are very impressive for an engine of this displacement. 464 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you guys are counting, that's about 44 more than what is available in the CTS-V Sport. Roughly about 30 more than the BMW M4 and M3, which sports about 425 horsepower. Now, the Mercedes-AMG, with its V8, of course, does deliver more power, about 503 in the S trim, but this vehicle weighs less than the Mercedes. It's about 3,700 pounds, which is about 200 pounds more than the BMW, but it does have more power to make up for that. Now, this car is only rear-wheel drive. You can get it in the 6-speed manual that my tester offers, or the 8-speed automatic, which is actually quicker in terms of 0 to 60 times. Cadillac rates this transmission combination at about 3.9 seconds. And fuel economy, if you guys are wondering, is rated at 17 in the city and 23 on the highway. Now, that doesn't sound terrible, but consider the fact that the BMW gets about 17.25 or 17.26. The Mercedes is 18.25 with a V8. So you're not really getting any fuel economy advantage by going with a V6, but overall, this is a performance car. So let's get out on the road and see how it all works together, shall we? So as you guys expected, I'm pretty excited to show you guys how the baby, or the high-performance version of the smallest Cadillac performs. So let's get right to it. And right off the bat, I love the way the engine sounds when you leave it in sport mode. It has a exhaust baffle that opens and closes, and it stays open, of course, when you have it in its most aggressive settings. Now, I'm pretty familiar with the ATS. I've driven the 2-liter turbo, the 3.6 liter V6. I showed you guys that ATS Coupe with the V6 last year with an automatic. So when Cadillac dropped off this V version, you could imagine the big smile that showed up on my face. This is Cadillac's answer to the BMW M4, to the Mercedes-AMG C63. So let's take a look and see if they've done it, if they've given us an American version of those performance luxury coupes. Now, I have to tell you guys first things first. We are in the middle of winter here in DC, so this car has Bridgestone Blizzak tires on it, winter tires. So I'm not going to be able to get the full performance feel for this car, although I must admit, for winter tires that don't grip well in these dry conditions, it's about 46 degrees out here, the car holds onto the road pretty well, but I couldn't imagine how much better it is when you have it with the Pilot Super Sports it's supposed to come with. Now, I'm actually using the no lift shift function that this car has with the 6-speed, and that basically means you don't have to lift up on the throttle when you're accelerating, which is a really cool feeling, actually. It's weird because it feels super unnatural. I'm used to lifting up on the throttle, but I have to say Cadillac's no lift shift function is pretty cool, and I also love the active rev match function. That's basically taken right off the Corvette. You activate it from these paddles here, and basically the car will automatically blip the throttle. It gives you the perfect downshift rev match, better than what I could do, to be honest. Now, when you guys get it going, Cadillac says the ATS-V will hit 60 in 3.9 seconds. With the manual, that feels about right, honestly. This thing is quicker than an M4 and a C63S, 0 to 60. And according to my colleagues at Motor Trend, they tested this against both, and it's quicker around Streets of Willow as well by just negligible, like 0.2 seconds or something like that. So, not that much faster, but it all has to do with the feel of the ATS-V. This chassis is one of the best feeling chassis I've ever driven. Actually, I want to go as far as to say that this is probably one of the best handling cars or luxury sport coupes that I've driven ever. The steering is an electric power steering, but it's just alive. The chassis feels so stiff. There's very little body lean in this car. It corners so flatly. And when you have it in its sport mode, that twin turbo V6, that just sounds, that's music to my ears. Now, of course, the V8 and the Mercedes-AMG C63, of course, will sound better, and I'm really excited to finally get my hands on that new Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. That's really the one to drive. But Cadillac's done a good job here at delivering a performance car that drives better than the current M4 and M3. Now, I've briefly driven those. I haven't shown you guys a video on that, but I have to say the Cadillac handles better. It feels more alive. The chassis feels way more playful. It doesn't feel as numb. That's my issue with current BMW products. This to me drives like a modern BMW, and whereas the BMW feels like a soft and sleepy Lexus, to be honest. Honestly would probably never ever get tired of doing that. Now, this car gets up to speed pretty damn quick. Cadillac says the top speed is 189 miles an hour, and I pretty much believe it. Now, let's go ahead and change gears a little bit here and show you guys what it's like when you drive this thing more civilized, in a more civilized manner. Now, I put the car into touring mode. That's its comfort setting. I put it in 6th gear. Now, cruising along here at 60 miles an hour, the ride quality is actually pretty damn good. These magnetic ride control dampers really do their job, and they give you a degree of adjustability that you won't get in a cheaper, lower priced car. I mean, there's a reason why you pay, you know, $60,000 plus for a vehicle like this, because you can use it as an everyday daily driver and a track car. In touring mode, this thing rides really comfortably. It's also relatively quiet. There's not much wind noise. Now, there is a little bit more road noise because of these snow tires, but I do occasionally hear a little bit of exhaust drone, so that does disappoint me a little bit. And even though when I'm in 6th gear here, I hear a little bit of that drone, but you know, putting it back into sport mode here and putting your foot down, that exhaust baffle opens up again. You can really hear it, and that's in 6th gear. I have it floored, and this thing has a lot of torque, so you don't really need to downshift if you don't want to. But of course, if you do want to, it gives you that nice little lovely blip of the throttle. And I honestly, I like to heel and toe myself, but this system just makes you drive like a hero. Basically, you look like a professional race car driver when you have this automatic rev match function. Now, I also want to talk about the transmission in this car. Now, the clutch is pretty much a good clutch. What I'm noticing, the travel is probably on the normal side. The engagement point is kind of right in the middle, which is good. It is a little bit numb for my taste. There are a couple times where I stalled this car out just because I have a trouble feeling where the clutch engages. The shifter is very good. The throws are nice and short. It has that nice snickety-snick feel. Not as good as, not not some of the best transmissions, but I love the 6-speed in this car. It's really, really good. I would be curious to try it with the 8-speed auto, but of course I'm a purist. I like the manual. Even though it's slower, I will still take it with the 6-speed manual, and it's cheaper when you guys go for the stick. It's $2,000 less versus the automatic. Now, regarding the fuel economy, I know some of you may be curious to know what I've been averaging. Now, Cadillac, or the EPA, rates this thing at 1723. I've been averaging about 15. That's mostly city. Now, I did get it out on the highway, and I was able to push it to about 25 miles to the gallon. When you guys drive this thing super conservatively, it probably would get closer to 30. Now, I haven't really had a chance to compare its competitors, really, but that's not bad MPG. I mean, it's pretty much what you expected. This car kind of begs you to drive it aggressively, so you're not buying it for fuel economy, of course. Now, you are buying it, of course, for performance, and I have to say, the ATS-V really freaking impresses me. The chassis is excellent. The engine is a peach. It sounds good most of the times. The transmission is wonderful. The rear drive balance. I mean, this car weighs about 3,700 pounds, but honestly, it feels super light. It feels alive, and it feels like a car that's basically ready for the track from the factory with a full warranty, and that's a wonderful thing that Cadillac has offered us. Now, of course, with any car, there are a few gripes. Now, I have to admit, the chassis, the way this car drives, makes me forget about a lot of the gripes that I have, but I will basically mention them really quickly. I don't like the interior of this car. Q is still a nightmare. It's still not my favorite, especially when you have a vehicle in its sports setting. It's really stiff in here, so you're kind of bouncing around. The steering wheel, I think, could be a flat bottom. It could look better. The gauges are just atrocious. I wish that Cadillac would do a little bit more to differentiate itself from the GM corporate parts bin. For example, the turn signal stock, the window switches in here. The new CT6 apparently has a lot more of its own Cadillac-specific features, so I will be curious to show you guys that all-new sedan. I know Cadillac is looking to get their standard of the world nameplate back, and they certainly are giving us the new standard of performance with this ATS-V. So those of you who think that a Cadillac's won't be a lot of fun on the track, you need to take a drive in the new ATS-V. That'll basically change your notion of any of the old man stigma that Cadillacs basically carry. Now, regarding the price of the ATS-V, this starts at about $62,000 for the coupe. The sedan is like $800 less. That's roughly twice the price of a base ATS-V, roughly. Now, it does start in line with its competitors. The BMW M4 is about $65,000, so it is a little bit cheaper. The Lexus RCF around the same price. Now, my tester has a couple of options on it, of course. The Track Performance Package is about $6,200. That gives you the carbon fiber around the vehicle. That actually is an a la carte option if you want that alone. That's $5,000. But then the carbon fiber package also gives you the the low mass battery. It gets rid of the floor mats in here and the Fix-A-Flat kit just to make it a little bit lighter. And you also do get the performance data recorder. That's alone like $1,500. So it's a good value if you guys plan on using this as your track toy. Now, for me, I wouldn't get it like this because I would just get the options a la carte. I don't like the fact that this car does not have HID headlights. I wish that Cadillac, I hope when they refresh it, they make it LED headlights as standard. You really need to have it in this class vehicle. That the car just looks really terrible with these halogen projectors. But I would go for this car with the luxury package. That gives you the upgraded Bose audio, the HID headlights, the navigation system. I would also add the carbon fiber package because I like the way it looks with the front bumper, the rear extension, the side sills. The Recaro seats, they're worth every money of that $2,300. Now, my tester is about 76. Equip it the other way that I'm telling you, and I'd probably go for a sunroof as well, as that's $1,000. It'll be around $78,000, which makes it roughly about as expensive as the M4 if you don't get the carbon ceramic brake option. Now, this car isn't available with those carbon ceramic brakes, but honestly, the car stops shorter than both the BMW and the Mercedes if you're going to compare it versus 60 to 0 miles an hour. So the brakes are strong. They feel fade-free to me. And honestly, if Cadillac has very little tweaking to do, if they can give us a little bit more of a nicer interior, step up a little bit of the technology. Now, if you guys want some driver assistance, there is a safety and security package. There's no adaptive cruise, but you'll get like lane departure warning, there's safety alert seat, forward collision warning, all that stuff. Now, the most expensive ATS-V coupe will be around $80,000, which honestly, that's a lot of money. But the engine and the chassis feels like it's worth the money. Right now, the interior is holding it back a little bit, but if Cadillac makes those tweaks, I really think the ATS-V could be the winner in this exclusive luxury sports sedan class. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed my overview of this 2016 Cadillac ATS-V. If you're in the market for a high-performance track toy that you can use as your luxury daily driver, I'd be sure to check this one out as well. It's definitely one of the best driving cars in the segment, even though it doesn't offer that interior that's up to par. But really, that's up on you. If you guys are looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, make sure you keep subscribed to the YouTube channel for all the latest car reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.